Hi, good morning everybody. My name is Rosco Paterson. I work for an artificial intelligence company, so we have a little bit to do with engineering and technology. Having a large engineering complement here at the table, we totally process managed it. We divided up the time equally amongst all the questions and had tight time constraints, and then, like Chris, just really spoke about everything and try to glue it back together at the end again. There was a wide range of views, inputs from full-time students to large corporates to entrepreneurs to people involved in the educational sector, views that we're doing everything right and teachers should be allowed to dictate the needs of the marketplace, to the Aldous Huxley view that one day all education will be provided by large corporates who will select children at the age of 1 or 2 because they're going to be great aeronautical engineers, and we'll just teach them the rest of the stuff because they have to. So it was pretty difficult to blend it all together, so please bear with me. One of the things that came up on question 1, perceptions, is that probably technology careers being misunderstood is a place marker for a wider problem, which is the role of technology in non-technology careers is also misunderstood, that technology is just rampant throughout everything we do, whether we're ostensibly a technology company or we're a bakery or field service management company, that there's a lot of misconceptions about how you use technology in your ordinary job. One of the views that came from our school representative was that there are, in fact, a lot of people coming forward to do presentations, the education industry collaboration, but a lot of the help was very worthy and well-meaning, but not necessarily very relevant, and that there was an appetite for engagement with more on-the-edge, way technology companies that carried the imagination of young people and gave them a compelling vision of using technology in a future world. So perhaps there's a responsibility on schools and companies to make sure that when they get together that it's appropriate and fit for purpose. Largely the responsibility here on perception changing was seen to be UK PLC, that if we genuinely believe that we're not getting the right pull-through of technology-equipped young people, then it's totally unreasonable to say schools, it's all down to what you're teaching. We've got to go in there and actually lead and give hard data points on what is required. Then moving on to question 2, we did actually leave out question 3 because we ran out of time, but we touched on apprenticeships in some of the other areas. So moving on to schools and colleges, what are the barriers preventing young people? There was a view that was presented that, in fact, if you turned up tomorrow with the school's Christmas present that they'd wanted, loads of time, loads of money, loads of resources, that they might not be equipped to be able to handle it in a useful way, simply because they're geared to a particular process, and it's an unreasonable expectation to believe that they should be able to be subtly trendy and commercially oriented. We spoke a little bit about sexual stereotyping and how it was uncool for young women to be seen to be interested in mathematics or engineering, that maybe that's coming unstuck a little bit, but it's still a big issue. And I know many of the companies in the third sector are working in this area to encourage young women to get involved in science, technology, engineering and maths experiences. The other thing, is it reasonable to expect that teachers should have skills in corporate awareness of which technologies are going to be big in the marketplace in 5 or 6 years' time? How much responsibility can you give teachers for understanding all of this? So again, a big responsibility placed on industry to lead joint educational and industrial collaborations. So jointly participating, but maybe more industry-led. I'm quite sure the people on the table here are saying which panel was he in? Because this isn't what we spoke about at all. We didn't have any fatalities on universities, but suffice it to say that we were slightly polarised. There was a view that in fact universities largely are doing a great job turning out brilliantly educated people with throbbing brains ready to plug into 21st century technology companies. And there was another view that the kids were coming out very bright and very, very able, but just empty shells that had to be reprogrammed by industry in order to get anything useful out of them. I think the fairest summary on that way is that universities are going to have to learn to use new models of being universities. So perhaps the whole concept of just a 3-year course or even the 4-year sandwich course, maybe in a generation time we have 5-year degrees, 11-year degrees, where people are moving more towards an apprenticeship model at university, where they're not reliant on the university for topping them up with more relevant skills, but a blend of both. And maybe in 50 years' time, universities just, won't even have campuses with the amplification of things like MOOCs, massive online open courses. So a period of radical change is surely coming, and rather than let it happen to us, let's anticipate it and structure it in a commercially useful manner. Ongoing learning. A bit of a triangle here, really, a tripartite responsibility that the person has to be motivated and make enough time available for topping up his or her skills, which is perhaps a little bit more difficult in small and medium-sized enterprises than the large corporates, who many of them, very graciously provide time for people reskilling, even if there's no direct chance that skill is going to be immediately used, but also on government and schools. Trying to shoot the plane so it flies into the bullets is very, very hard, but it's what you have to do. There has to be some way of determining which skills are going to turn into real jobs that are needed in 5 or 10 years' time. Otherwise, what is it you're going to retrain people to do? Anything, just because it's fun. So this is perhaps an area with more questions remaining than answers. The hard economics of a post-recessionary world is companies may well find it cheaper to fire people whose skills are going off the boil than it is to retrain them. So companies aren't registered charities, and this may well become much more of a problem over the next few years. Definitely a big theme came out from our Microsoft representative of collaboration between the large corporate and the small corporate world to be able to be in touch with the marketplace and schools and not impose some sort of centralist idea that is just good for the large corporate sponsor but works out through the supply chain as well. So there you are. Good job, team.